It's right here, right in front of this telephone pole. I found the big beds in the past. Right in here, I think this looks like it's pretty well mashed down. Look at that, right against those cedars. You can see that resembling a kidney bean. I would just about guarantee there's been a deer laying there. You see those grasses pushed down. But not last night. Look at that. I mean, come on. Come on. That's the spot. That's definitely a bed. You can see this grass turned around here. That area there, it's not an accident. Back up here. Look at that little beauty. Just sitting here looking out at this wetland area. There's a road right there. Driveway right on the other side of it. And he's just laying right in that little pocket. And can go any direction to safety. Wish he'd bedded there last night, but it doesn't look like he did. But it's definitely been within the near past. Let's see what else. This area here looks highly suspect. That's very interesting though, that one spot. I've found that bed multiple times, and I need to get a camera up here somewhere where I can see what is in that thing. This corner looks really good too. But I don't believe that there had been beds here. It looks like pretty serious traffic. Could also just be the wind. So we'll cruise around the same little elevation. And I think that corner over there is a high probability for bedding. The rubs where they cross the road on the rig. The low spot of the wetland where it drains out through here. Well, it doesn't drain actually, it hits that thing and then goes that way. Actually, is where it would exit if it went that way. But this flows out the back. But a lot of deer traffic here. Need to get a couple cameras up on that pole. I had them there in the past, but haven't had them there in a couple of years. It could be highly likely that bucks would be bedded back on the back side where this berm comes all the way around, on that back side there. But I haven't found any beds in the past there. And I think I am going to enhance this corner a little bit. Pretty heavy trail there. Not as likely on the top as they are on this a little bit lower elevation. This looks a lot better, I thought before. Not sure what's going on with it now. right here. Yeah, look at that. That's definitely, I mean, you can see that right there like that. That to me, same sort of situation as the other side, kind of back here in a pocket. Kind of this little circle of cedars around them, this bush, some cedars over here, laying back here, facing out this way. That's it. Dan talks a lot about buck's bed and where they can see. Well, both of these beds, this bed, that bed over there, what's actually back over there a little bit, same exact thing. Got cover behind them, and they can see in front of them. Pretty cool. I do have one other spot that I'm going to go check, and that's in the other side. This ditch over here has some elevation change, drops down to just a drainage where this field drains. One thing that's interesting about these two beds is that both of them, same kind of bed, same looking bed. Look at all those deer tracks. That's pretty crazy. Pretty hot spot back in there. Right time of year. But both of these beds didn't have overhead canopy. Where was that? Here, a little further, right there. Yeah, neither one of these had overhead canopy. Interesting. I'm willing to bet that those bucks will have tendencies in the way they like to bed, the kind of terrain they bed in. I'm willing to bet. All right, be back. We're gonna head over here. Pick you up in a minute. Okay, so here's the wetland we just finished, where we just left, and there is a movement that goes from along my neighbors here, and they cross this corner and they go off that way and they cross over there, and that's where we're going to go now, is that spot over there. I did a little bit of, showed you that before. There's different kind of, a little bit of a different area. There isn't as many dogwoods over in the front of this, and it's just a little bit different, but there is an elevation change, a pretty good elevation change, and there's definitely bedding over there, and especially around the back. So we're going to go just look at this area and see what we can see. All right, let's jump in here. This little piece of cover that runs along this driveway, runs along this hay field over here. It gets a little bit wider as it goes down. Basically a culvert crossing the road here and runs down the edge of this and runs back that way. This way they let grow up into the quail program. The other side is still hay, and it's a lot grown up. I've been growing this for probably about 15 years. They did run a skid steer through it with a propeller or a grinder thing that grinds up the ground. Man, that thing's amazing. Did some really good stuff, so I'm interested to see what this looks like now and if there are deer bedding on it. This is still pretty close to the road, but I could definitely see some bedding going on in here. There's been a lot of rubs in this area. Almost just like a bed there. And in the fall, this does get really thick. When this grass stands up, it gets super thick. But right now the grass is all down, and I'm sure that makes a pretty big difference in how they relate. Well, I know that it makes a big difference. You can definitely shift bedding areas if they have different kind of habitat in one spot, protected habitat. They can bed change with the seasons. Definitely in the woods, they'll bed in open woods when in summertime. That breeze blows through the woods and the leaves keep the sun off of them, and they really like those woods in the summer. This area right here is kind of interesting. I believe this was the area where we jumped a little buck out of, bedded right here just in these pines, and there's no backing cover, but there is overhead canopy. And unless you just consider the little elevation change, the top of this hill, unless you consider that to be backing cover, because I think that is what deer consider backing cover in hill country, because a lot of times they will bed on those points without backing cover. But we've definitely had bedding in here, and there definitely isn't much backing cover, but there is overhead canopy. So I think that's, you know, in that elevation drop down through there, it probably is maybe 3 feet from up there, maybe more, and then it drops down into this thing, this little ravine or ditch. And I think they can, you know, just look out through there, maybe pull up some thermals. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly how that would work, thermals in this particular situation. I guess the same as it would regular hills. I have found beds in this area up in here where there's a little bit more grass left in the wintertime. I think it was in some snow last year. See, he didn't run the forestry mulcher through this area, and you can see what it looks like now. Just tall maples, just some onions, wild onions growing at the bottom. Nothing on the bottom. No leaves. There's no leaves in here for deer. Nothing for anything to eat. Really, it's basically it's a habitat wasteland. These maples are here right now, to be honest. And then where you run this tractor, or this forestry mulcher through, knock down some little trees. Look at that, that's gorgeous. The little maples. And then it reseeded, or it broke up the seeds for these native grasses. And these native grasses come up in a lot of these areas where he ran this mulcher, the forestry mulcher. Looks fantastic, really. It's just all kind of smashed down now, but man, when it's growing in the fall, you won't even believe it. It's still not as much fall. Well, you can see over here where it stops dropping down. So let's walk back there and see. But that would be actually facing the north. So I don't. Wow, look at that. Pretty cool. This hill would be facing north. So, like I said, I'm not a professional hill hunter, but I feel like they wouldn't be facing north on a hill in the winter. But I've been wrong before. I do just love scouting, to be honest. Scouting is my favorite thing to do. And then I've decided I'm just going to start scouting and filming, not even places that I hunt, just scouting and sharing with you what I'm finding and why. Okay, we come down to this bottom of this area. It's super yucky. It's super yucky. I had a dream, man, many years ago that I killed a giant non-typical out of here. It was before this area was even in CRP. I dreamed he was bedded here. I couldn't know why. Man, look at this though. We go up this little hill, and then right as it's coming down the hill, this isn't quite the wet area yet. This is the wet area. We're just starting up. Thick as can be. Look at that pile. That pile of stuff over there. I will be willing to bet that there is a deer bedded in relation to this pile. If not now, there's no doubt in my mind in the future they will be bedded around this. This is really super good. A perfect example of backing cover right here, this big pile of brush. They can just lay in and around it, and they just relate to this piece of cover. Okay, here's our big chunk of backing cover we talked about in this, kind of on the edge of this thing, and we walked around it, and we sure enough found some beds. But it's kind of neat. It's very neat, actually. The deer are very predictable in where they're going to bed. And this whole area, it looks like there could have been bedding here, but this here is certainly a bed, a little bit smaller bed. And this right here is certainly a bigger bed. There's just no doubt whatsoever about that. That could be another bed there. I originally thought that's the first bed that I found. Thought it could have been a buck bed. That's a pretty good sized bed. But then when I found this one along with it, it makes me think it's probably just a doe and her young one. This could be a bed here. It's just strange that around this whole area the snow is pretty well gone, where in the rest of the area there's snow, and even in these other areas there's still snow in these around this spot. But these certain areas, there's no snow. And it makes me think they were probably getting up and maybe moving around, coming back. So this is probably an active bedding area. Well, obviously, it's an active bedding area. Old rub. I did find there was a big old rub in relation to this thing. Kind of interesting little spot for sure. Neat little area, and you can create spots like that. Is the thing. That's what I'm wanting to do, is create areas like this back in my woods, open up some holes, and encourage some bedding. And there's a big, nice rub right here on the edge of this thing. Could just be a coincidence. Could definitely get up in that tree right there. That looks like it'd be the perfect spot. Unless they cruise back in there. But this rub here is telling me that they're not. But could be random. But I think I should definitely look. At getting a tree stand in that tree there. I may not be as mobile this year around here anyway. Get a few more permanent stands and hunt maybe more on public, a little more mobile. There's another spot up here in this corner, and then back along this fence. There's also been some bedding. Just pretty good cover. See that pile of thorns right there? That'd be considered backing cover. That would use that as backing cover. I think that could have been a bed in the past right there. It's an ideal, perfect textbook location, if you will. Oh, look at that next to that cedar. These roads didn't grow up quite like the other ones for some reason. What is that? Is that a bed? Sure looks like it. About has to be. Actually, it looks like a scrape, but there's no overhanging branch. So I can't say for certain what that is. If I could see, I could tell you if there was hair in it, but I can't. I ain't gonna say it's a bed. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie to you. Little rubs aplenty. This other spot up here, I believe there was a mature buck bedded a few years ago. I don't know if he still is. Let's go see though. Then we'll check this fence over here. There's a log down, creates real nice cover, real nice backing cover over there. We'll go see if anything's using that. This spot up here is pretty ideal. It's real good backing cover. I'll show you from a distance here. Show you what it is. You can see this area there, it's kind of open there, real thick right there. well, that's an area that's backing cover. So high likelihood deer are going to be bedded in that area up against that that thick area. Again, deer need two things. One of two, both is perfect: backing cover and overhead canopy. They're more likely to bed with only backing cover than they are to only bed an overhead canopy. I think around here we have examples of both. They were bedded, it was bedded up against this thing, but it looks like we've got a trail more through here. And I don't think them deer are as likely to bed on trails. They could definitely be bedded in there, but I can't say for certain. The only thing about that is it's not as easy. They need somewhere where they can escape. Now that has great backing cover and overhead canopy, but there isn't ways to get out from back in here. So I'm not 100% sure that would be a good bedding area, though it has potential, but it's a little bit closed up. Look at all those rubs. Wow. Wow, look at that. Look at that. This could totally be, oh, that's a bed right there for sure. Definitely a bed. And we got the backing cover, the big brush, big pile. So you can basically look for these kind of areas. They grab your attention, these thick areas in this, you know, more open kind of habitat. You can see them, they're real dark. You know, when it gets real dark, that's when it's getting real thick, and you can spot that from a ways off, and you can go investigate those areas and find little beauties of rubbed bliss. And I believe, well, that's a lot of rubs. That many rubs I don't think happen on accident or just one time, or even two. So I think he's still bedded here, right inside the road. There's the road right there. But when he beds right up in that thicket, tucks his head down just a little bit, he's actually, it comes around this way. He's right tucked in, right up against that thing. You never see him riding right by. Pretty interesting. Let's get on the back side of this and look and see where this thing is, what it looks like from the road. Or from the driveway, that is. This clump, that clump right there, it's laying just on the other side of it. You can't even see through that thing. Beautiful little place. Little buck hideout. Now let's go check out that tree line. There's some trees down. Fence line gets thick. I believe there could be some beds over there, maybe not. This one was hit on that one, hit on that other one. Been a pretty good day of bed hunting. Oh, look at this beauty. These fresh rubs, man. Be nice to find an antler, wouldn't it? Man, would that make my day? Look at here. 100%. That's 100%. 100%. But why? Got a little backing cover. Does have some backing cover. A little more open though. I don't know. Could be a nighttime bed. Definitely kind of breaking the rules of what we found around here. Could even be a younger buck, maybe. Maybe he just got tired real quick. Had to lay down for a second. He's like, "You go on, guys. You go on, guys. I'm gonna lay down here for just a minute to catch my breath. You guys are crazy." I think this probably, I think that that backing cover too offers thermal. It helps the wind blow around, because if you'll notice, they're bedding right up in that right up in the back of that stuff, with their back against those bushes. And same thing with those beds over in that field earlier. They're bedded with their back against the cover. I'm in the briars. The briars got me. It looks like a bed right there, but I wouldn't say for sure. That other one I didn't think for sure, but it was so smashed down I couldn't help it. Look at that. Like that. And that. Oh, what's that? Woodcock. There's another one. Snipe. Or a doodle bug. They call them doodle bug. It's funny, that's what I call my kid, and I didn't even know that they called those things doodle bugs. I didn't even know what a doodle bug was. Off a suspect. I believe deer bedded there. It's a logical spot up against that. I mean, that's ultimate backing cover for sure. But this is a little different area in that it's in the wide open. So maybe they're not liking it as much being in the wide open. Only a theory. Those other spots are kind of tucked back. They have other stuff in and around them. Snow kind of made it a little bit easier, but really for me it didn't. At the same time, it jumped out a little bit bigger, but those spots, when they smash that ground there like that, you can tell it for sure. Well, that's it. Used to be a lot of bedding over in there. It was big tree line went down through there, growed up just like this, but they mowed it all down and they've kept it down. So that really got rid of a lot of bedding around here. All right, that was awesome. What a great day. Even though it's just on property and areas where I was pretty well knew beds already existed. The one spot was new. Didn't know that was there. But loved being able to show you those beds and hopefully shared some thoughts on how to find beds quicker, because I think when you can find beds and bedding locations, it sure makes things a lot easier on knowing where to go in and how and when, especially. But especially when you can find where they're coming from their beds and to their beds, and you don't want to cross that type thing. I'm going to try to do some more. I love scouting. I was going to go scout some public, but at the same time, I don't really, to be completely honest with you, I don't have the time to put in to that right now, where I'm really trying to grow this business. I'm trying to get our mobile products, our mobile hunting products going, and just trying to scale that business. I think it's the best way to hunt, I really do. And I think one day you will too. But for now, happy hunting. Get out in the woods, man. It's just it's the place to be for real.